So there are a lot of people who have been asking me about my opinions on what Meryl Streep said, and I'm going to get to that in this edition of the Whitfield Report because I do believe it's important to talk about Meryl Streep, but I want to preface the Meryl Streep incident by first talking about the assault of the man in Chicago who was mentally disabled, and I'm going to show you my article that I wrote on the assault and what my take on it was. As you can see, I have it up at thesamwhitfield.com, and I also have it up at AmericanWatchman.org, so you can choose to read it on either site. I really don't care which, since I have a stake in both of them. I also have it published to my medium.com profile. It's syndicated there as well. My purpose, as with all of my articles that I've written, isn't so much where my article shows up, but I just care that my articles and my blog posts show up in as many different places as possible, because you guys deserve the great content that we provide here at American Watchman, no matter where you are. So, as I said, I'm going to briefly cover this article that I wrote. And as I say here in the beginning of this article, I'm not going to rehash the details of what happened in Chicago. Everyone has seen the video that these thugs streamed to Facebook Live, ladies and gentlemen. And it is disgusting. They wanted their video to go viral. People are saying that these felons were just acting stupid because they were 18, and that it was just, youth and stupidity. No, this was an actual hate crime, and it is pretty clear to see that that is the case. Let me adjust my mic settings here because I'm just a little quiet. Anyway, as I said in the article, I don't need to see the full video. The clips have been enough. I also wrote in the article, and this is what is getting a lot of people questioning what I've written. I wrote that this is what happens when social justice runs amok. And I said this in the article, but I'll say it again here in person in this edition of the Whitfield Report. Social justice is what happens when minority groups, quote unquote minority groups, think that they can bully white people or wealthy people. They don't even have to be white. They can be white, wealthy. They can even be poor, white. But just as long as they're not in your victim class, it's an excuse to do whatever the hell you want because you're somehow more of a victim than the person that you're beating up. You're somehow the victim. That's how the social justice type stuff works. And it's really weird, it's kind of a black rabbit hole that you're falling down. But that's how social justice goes. And at the time I wrote this, as I said, the police department and the media was all saying that this was stupidity and not a hate crime. And I wrote here, stupidity is when you drink too much at a college frat party and make an ass of yourself. Stupidity is when you have sex with someone you just met 5 minutes ago without using protection. Stupidity is riding a motorcycle on the highway without a helmet during Friday rush hour. Intentionally kidnapping a young man over the span of 2 days, forcing him to drink toilet water, beating him to a pulp, and scalping him, all while streaming the entire event to Facebook Live is not stupidity. It's just plain evil. Now, I just read what I wrote verbatim, but yet it's important that people really understand that that was my main point in the article. At the end of the day, you can't blame this on race relations or Donald Trump or social injustice or whatever else they're going to make up. This was simply a racist, cruel thing to do, to torture this young man. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little about Meryl Streep, because I think it's important that we talk about her real quick. Okay, so I'm here on YouTube. I have Meryl Streep's speech pulled up for you guys to view with me as I commentate on this. I'm not going to play the whole clip A because YouTube doesn't allow that in their new policy changes. Stupid, I know, and yes, this is on VidMe as well, but we also have a YouTube channel. Second, I don't need to go through the whole clip to make my point about this. I just need to play the following clip. Watch and listen.
That did exactly that. Breathtaking, compassionate work. But there was one performance this year that stunned me. It sank its hooks in my heart. Not because it was good. There was nothing good about it. But it was effective and it did its job. It made its intended audience laugh and show their teeth. It was that moment when the person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter, someone he outranked in privilege, power, and the capacity to fight back. It kind of broke my heart when I saw it, and I still can't get it out of my head because it wasn't in a movie. It was real life. And this instinct to humiliate, when it's modeled by someone in the public platform, by someone powerful, it filters down into everybody's life because it kind of gives permission for other people to do the same thing.
Okay, now, here's my beef with this clip, and I've gotten a lot of people who criticize me for not criticizing Trump on the disabled reporter thing. Why? Because I myself am disabled. And I've had a lot of personal family members who don't like Trump. I'm not going to say that they're far to the left. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But the ones that don't like Trump have all said to me, well, Sam, how can you support Trump? How could you vote for him after he made fun of that handicapped reporter? And it's a question that I've had to answer a couple of times during the election. But I'll go through again. So first off, Donald Trump was not my preferred candidate when this election first started. First, I liked Scott Walker, governor of Wisconsin, and then I liked Marco Rubio for the main GOP candidate. And it was pretty much only after Donald Trump pretty much won the Republican nominee decisively that I decided to vote for him, because I wasn't going to go the Never Trump route, and I certainly wasn't going to vote third party because that was useless. And I've spent hours upon hours talking about my problems I have with Hillary Clinton. That's a whole bag I'm not even going to get into on this video because it's simply not needed. You can go listen to any of my podcasts or read any of my other articles on Hillary Clinton to get my opinion on her. Nonetheless, this question of Trump making fun of a disabled reporter has come up repeatedly. And so I'm going to do my best to hopefully answer this question for you. In all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, I was not flattered when Donald Trump made that gesture. And when it first happened, I like many people thought that he was purposely mocking the disabled reporter. But then upon further research and upon people tweeting links to me, I started to see stories of how Trump uses that hand gesture, and he kind of does the stutter to make fun of other people too, who don't even have disabilities. He used that to make fun of Ted Cruz during the campaign. Lying Ted. Lying Ted doesn't know what he's talking about. Or Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush. Low energy Jeb. Low energy. He even does it to himself sometimes. I believe he paired himself on the Apprentice that way one year, where he was even making fun of himself taking his private jet. And let me say this. He has to lose the hand gesture thing because it has come off poorly for him because of the disabled reporter thing and now. But seeing as how he does it to everyone else, I don't think his intention was specifically to insult a disabled reporter. Was it a good decision for him to make? No. Absolutely not. But let's go back to my story here on American Watchmen about this young man who was attacked in Chicago, and he was mentally disabled. He was physically attacked by these thugs who were black because he was part of the wrong race and because they assumed that he voted for Trump, even though that has been neither confirmed nor denied. he was tortured for 2 days or 40 hours. He was scalped. He was forced to drink toilet water. All because these low-life thugs thought that he was a Trump supporter. And because of their preconceived notions, they didn't agree with him, so they decided to torture him in response to this. Now, I don't know about you folks, but while Donald Trump's comments may be hurtful emotionally to some people, they're not physically damaging, right? There's that old saying out there that goes, "Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me." Although I doubt with the social justice types out there that term is even around anymore, but nonetheless, I digress. That's my whole point, is that, yeah, Donald Trump's words may have been hurtful, but they were just words. And believe me, people have said far worse things to me for being disabled and for being conservative while disabled, too. But yet, I don't get offended by people's words, or if I do, I learn to shake it off and move on. So I'm not afraid necessarily of what Donald Trump says, but what I am afraid of is that a brutal attack that was portrayed on this young man in Chicago might also be portrayed on me someday, especially given the fact that I am somewhat of a political figure. But even without that, I still worry that this attack could happen because, someone, hell, there are thugs out there who like to do this stuff just for fun. It might not be politically motivated. Some freaks just like to do it for fun, and they're sickos for doing it. But I am way more worried about an incident like this happening to me as opposed to whether or not Trump purposely mocked a disabled reporter or intended to mock someone like me or not. That's my concern. And the fact that there are people out there who are saying, oh, these people were just, acting like stupid youths who didn't know what the hell they were doing. No, that's not an excuse. If you're going to say that Donald Trump making fun of a disabled reporter, intentionally or not, is inexcusable and should be hounded mercilessly for doing so and given the scrutiny by Meryl Streep, then I would also suggest that if Meryl Streep actually cared about disabled people instead of trying to get more publicity, that she also address what happened in Chicago, because that type of violence is much more likely to occur in real life as opposed to a president making fun of a disabled person on purpose. That's just my take on it. I know some of you will agree with me. I know others of you who will disagree with me. I want to know what you guys think. If you like this video or the audio podcast version of this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, whether that be on VidMe, YouTube, or if you're listening to this on the audio format, tapewrite.com. I'm Sam Whitfield, and this is the Whitfield Report, brought to you exclusively by AmericanWatchman.org and the samwhitfield.com. Thank you for watching.